to another video in the kitchen with Pen. I've got my, let me just show you, Ninja Foodie apron on again today, and you may notice today I'm also wearing a microphone. I'm hoping that means those of you that have struggled to hear me in the past can hear me. But enough waffle. What's today's recipe? Today's recipe is corned beef hash. Now, it's corned beef hash made from tinned corned beef. The full recipe for this can be found on the Facebook page In the Kitchen with Pen, but I'll just run you through the ingredients. Obviously, first ingredient is corned beef. Now, if you chill your corned beef, you'll find it a lot easier to slice and chop. So always chill your corned beef. The minute I buy it in the fridge it goes. Then you'll need potatoes. So I've got some potatoes there in water and I will be boiling those. You'll need some onion, and I've chopped some onion. You'll need some seasoning, so you'll need an oxo cube. You'll also need some Worcestershire sauce, which silly person here hasn't got out of the cupboard yet, but we'll add that. Some seasoning, so we've got some Italian style seasoning. Mushrooms, I don't even like mushrooms, but I do put them into a corned beef hash, generally because Steve likes them, but he's not having it today, but I'm still going to put them in. And I'm also going to add some peppers today because I love a pepper. You'll need a tin of baked beans, okay? That's going to make your sauce, so don't think, oh, what the heck's she at? Just trust me on this. To sit atop your corned beef hash, you will need some grated cheese. And to finish it, you'll need an egg. Now, whether you poach or fry the egg is entirely up to you. But get it nice and soft, nice soft yolk, so that yolk breaks over the hash and then it adds another sauce. I will be serving it with, excuse me, my cough, pickled red cabbage and beetroot, but you serve it how you like. So, come on in whilst we make corned beef hash. Okay then, first step is to boil our potatoes. We have our potatoes in water, to which I've added some salt. We've popped the lid on because it will A, boil quicker, and B, save any real condensation in your kitchen. We want these to be boiled but not mushy, so that's exactly what we want there. We'll leave those whilst we carry on with our next step. Right then, I have sprayed this pan with some oil, and when it's hot we're going to add in our onions. Just so you can see what I mean about chilling the corned beef first, I've opened it with the key, try not to lose your key, and then look, the corned beef just comes out really, really well, and I'd rather see this as fat than jelly. And now all I'm going to do is I am going to cube it. Don't want it too small, we want to know that we have corned beef in there. So we get some slices like this, and then we'll pile them on top of each other. Go 3 times, or twice, so that we get 3s lengthways, and I think we'll get 4 the other. There we go. So you want your chunks of corned beef. Now remember, this is cooked, you don't need to cook it, it's just warming through. So that's about the size that you want your chunks of corned beef. Well, our potatoes are boiling away, so I've turned them down slightly. The oil is hot enough, so in is going our onions, and we are just basically softening those up. So we'll have those on a fairly low, medium heat. So we'll just let these do their thing. One thing I did want to say is today I am only making the corned beef hash for one. That's why there's so few ingredients. Well, so few of each ingredient. Now our onions have started to soften up a little bit. We're going to go in with the peppers. I mean, to be honest, what you add is entirely up to you, but it does need onions, it does need baked beans, or tomatoes. You could substitute in tomatoes for the baked beans. And we are again going to leave those, but I am just going to add a little salt and pepper. We'll just stir through and we'll leave them doing their thing. Our potatoes are now cooked, so I will take those off and drain them, but I'll take them off, switch them off, and then I shall just add the mushrooms to this pot here and just stir through, and we'll leave them doing their thing. Now you can see I've left the mushrooms quite large. That's so that I know where they are, and if I don't want to eat them, I won't. And now we're going to go in with some of the mixed herbs. Any herbs, a selection of herbs is best. So a herb de Provence or these Italian herbs that I'm using here are fine. We're also going to go in with the oxo cube, which I am going to squash in its silver foil, if I can. Yes, I can. There we go. And then we'll just, can you see that's all squashed? And we'll just pop some of that into here. If I was doing a full size one, then yes, I would use all of the oxo cube. Please don't worry that this is going to be wasted. I do have a sieve in the house. So we'll just stir that through. And we'll give the mushrooms a couple of minutes, and then we'll add in some of the potatoes. Now you may well be wondering why I said I'm only going to add in some of the potatoes. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a nice crunchy potato top. So I've got some oil heating here, and some of these potatoes will go in there to become crunchy. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to chop some of the potatoes just a little smaller than they are. And the reason I'm doing it now is it's so easy to overcook them if they're very small. So do it after they have actually had their little cook, right? That's how large they were. And I'm just chopping them down into a half again. So we're going in with the potatoes, but as I say, not all of them. We're saving those to make nice and crispy. So we've got our vegetables, we've got the potatoes, which are a vegetable of course, and now we're going to go in with our baked beans. Again, if you were making the full recipe, it would be the full tin, but it's not. So we're going to go in with, yeah, about half the tin. And this is where we add in our Worcestershire sauce. We want to be generous. We're not stingy here. So I reckon that was probably about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce there. Right, stir everything through, and we're just going to leave it so everything, all the flavours meld together. Perfect. Well, our fat here is hot enough, and we can go in with these potatoes. And all we want to do is to just brown them up just a little. So again, if there's any that I've missed, I'm going to just make them a little smaller. And we are just going to leave those to colour. But now it's time for the corned beef to actually go into here. So again, the recipe calls for a whole tin, and the recipe is for 4 people. So we don't need the whole tin, obviously, just for me. I mean, I'm not saying I couldn't eat the whole tin of corned beef, because I seriously could. Right, it's cooked, so all I'm going to do is stir it through and then just put this down to a number 1. Well, a number 1, I switched it off actually, but just put this down to a number 1. Because everything in there is now cooked, so we just leave it. We're just waiting on these to get some colour. Right then, as you can see, the potatoes have now got a nice colour, so I'm just going to pop them on top of the hash. This really does, it adds an extra crunchiness, obviously, and it is really a nice addition to your hash. Now, the eagle-eyed, and I do hope we have some amongst you, may have noticed that I've just moved the pan over onto the hob, and that is because I'm going to cook my poached egg. So I'm going to go in with a squeeze of distilled vinegar and a pinch of salt. The hash, I would, if I wasn't using cheese, I would dot with some butter, but you know, just like this all over. And now I'm going to sprinkle over the cheese, and this goes under the grill because we want that cheese to go bubbly and brown and melt. So probably did a bit too much cheese, but is that possible? I'm not sure. Okay, so this is now going under the grill to get nice and bubbly. Now, because this is the first time I've done this on camera, you can bet your life it will go wrong, but I'm going to carry on nonetheless, carry on regardless. So I have cracked my egg into a ramekin or a teacup or whatever you want to use. I'm stirring this water because I want a vortex into which I'm going to lower the egg. Now that is just barely simmering water. That's going to cook for a couple of minutes, and only a couple of minutes. We'll take it out and you'll see. Well then, you can see on my plate I've got some homemade veg cabbage recipe on the Facebook page, In the Kitchen with Pen, Computer, Stop, along with some homemade beetroot, and that was my timer for my egg. So I am taking it out. I'm just going to let it rest on there just for a wee moment, switch the oven off, bring this forward, and now we need to look at the corned beef hash. And there it is. Can you see? It's beautiful. Beautifully golden, nice and crispy bits. So it's time to serve up. Right, there is our hash all dished up, topped with an egg, which I've added some salt and pepper to, because eggs always benefit from a little bit of that. But we need to test whether our egg is correct. So fingers crossed, please. And there we go. Yes, we have a nice runny egg that will add to the sauce in the actual hash. Now there's dinner, and we all know what's next. It's the taste test. So let's get some potato, do you know what, try and get a bit of everything, and here we go. Bon appetit. Oh, that is so good. So why not give it a go? And then in the comments down below, let me know what you think. So thank you for watching this edition of In the Kitchen with Pen. If you've liked it, please give us a thumbs up. If you really like what we do, don't forget to subscribe, and you'll be notified if you ding that bell each time we put on a new recipe. So for now, thanks for being in the kitchen with Pen, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye bye.